So we have Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 8 titled It Doesn't Matter, and in this chapter we got a whole lot of information pertaining about Mitsuki, Himawari, and the Shinju enemies, such as with Hidari and Jura, who have finally came to the Hidden Leaf Village in order to find Naruto. And in this chapter there has been a lot of hints that were set up that will impact the rest of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. So at the start of the chapter, Eida does pinpoint Boruto's location and does tell Kawaki where exactly he is at. And while Kawaki and Delta are trying to find Boruto, Delta does warn Kawaki that the moment Eida does get tired of him, Delta is going to go for the kill. And of course, with Kawaki, the only thing that he does care about is by killing all of the Mituski. And once he is done with his goals, as he does say, he will go away on his own. That shows you how far Kawaki is willing to go in order to accomplish all of his goals. So in the hypothetical situation that he does kill all of the Mituskis, he is willing to die off and essentially remove himself from the story. Kawaki's attitude toward Eida is really interesting because despite Eida's fixation of love toward him, he simply does not care. And with Delta, of course, also being affected by her charm ability, Delta immediately notices this, right? And at the end of part 1, after the Omnipotence Jutsu was activated, if you notice with Eida's attitude, she was disgusted by how Kawaki threw Boruto under the bus. But even then, she still has deep feelings for him. And I really feel like this is going to be a turning point for Eida and Kawaki's dynamic, because at some points, Eida is gonna eventually snap out of it. Even though right now she is fixated on Kawaki, I do think she is starting to realize that Kawaki has no affection back when it comes to their relationship. He is constantly dismissive toward him, and as well as with Mitsuki, as we've seen in the first couple of chapters. Anyways, Boruto continues to inform Shikamaru about the Ten Tails and how they have evolved. And even though Shikamaru does understand this, he is still confused on why the people that were eaten by the Ten Tails are still alive. Boruto does inform Shikamaru that the Ten Tails are using the people's chakra that they have consumed, such as somebody like Sasuke and Moegi, for example, as well as with Bug, who have all turned into some of the main enemies. However, before Boruto could reveal more information to Shikamaru, Shikamaru is quickly interrupted by another message, which is coming from Kawaki. Kawaki then tells Shikamaru that he is heading toward Boruto since Eida has pinpointed Boruto's location. Followed up with Delta, Kawaki and Delta are planning to attack Boruto by taking him by surprise. However, with Shikamaru being in transmission call with Boruto and Kawaki on two separate lines, it does seem like Boruto was able to sense that Shikamaru was talking to somebody else since he stopped talking to him right away. And with Kawaki telling Shikamaru that he is going to attack Boruto immediately alongside with Delta, Boruto realizes that he has to dip. This is where he uses the Flying Rising Jutsu to immediately leave the village premises, and immediately Kawaki is not able to sense his aura. Toward the middle of the chapter, Mitsuki does have a conversation with Eida, and this is where we actually get some more inner dialogue with how Mitsuki feels when it comes to his goals of following the sun. Of course, throughout the entirety of Boruto Part 1, Mitsuki has always had a fixation on Boruto since he viewed him as his son and has always followed him through his will. And in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, thanks to the Omnipotence, he has then been following Kawaki since he had thought he had been viewed as his son. And with the events that occurred in last chapter between Boruto and Mitsuki, where Boruto was able to subdue him and make him realize that the son that he is following isn't Kawaki but in fact is Boruto, Mitsuki immediately has started to question himself on what actually his will is. And in this conversation with Eida, Mitsuki informs Eida that up until he met her, he never really understood the concept of love itself, and that's why he thanks her for it. And since he is an artificial human created out of scratch, he really doesn't even understand his own feeling. And yet, even though he had a son, that was the only thing that he truly followed, since to him, that is what kept his feelings in check. And because of that, he didn't really care about anything but the thing that he was following, which was Boruto, and which is now illuminating upon Kawaki. When it comes to Mitsuki's character, this is the first time where he realizes that he actually has to give himself belief before he follows anything. And since he didn't do that, Mitsuki understands that he was starting to lose sight of who exactly his son is, and the most important part about it, of what he was aware of. Eida does chime in that Boruto was the one who made Mitsuki realize this from the battle that they had in the chapter prior. With Mitsuki not actually being able to attack Boruto right away and go for the kill, he realized who exactly his son is. From there, Mitsuki does draw a comparison between him and Eida on about the fixation that they have. Of course, Eida does have an obsession over Kawaki. Meanwhile, Mitsuki, at least in Boruto Part 1, had an obsession over Boruto, which is now illuminated upon Kawaki. Where Mitsuki does confess, he doesn't understand why he is so fixated upon him. And Eida does counteract by saying that that's exactly what love is. It doesn't really have to matter why it does happen. It's just the fact that it happened in the first place. You don't even have to comprehend it, since that was the ability that Eida does have. Her charm effect is the reason why Mitsuki was able to experience false love. And because of that, Mitsuki became scared when he realized that's not who his son may not be. So from there, he feared losing that will. And this is the first time Mitsuki was able to understand that he doesn't need the sun in order to experience his own emotions. He tells Eida right away that he has stopped thinking about whether or not that sun was the real thing, especially when it comes to his feelings about Boruto, since it was reflected upon Kawaki thanks to the omnipotence jutsu. Mitsuki became confused on what exactly who to follow and what his true feelings were, especially when it comes to the emotions of love. I really like this from Kishimoto, especially with Mitsuki's character, since at least when it comes to the main characters of the story, we have really never gotten this inner dialogue, and I really enjoy this from his character because he is starting to understand that he doesn't really need anybody as his son. He doesn't need a Boruto or a Kawaki to illuminate upon him to follow his own will. Even though he is not a normal human being, this is probably the most human thing Mitsuki has ever said in Boruto so far, and I really like this for his character because it just shows you the self-growth within him, proving to him that he doesn't need anybody to follow his own will. He just needs himself. And this is really the first time where Mitsuki understands this as a character. And Eida immediately draws that comparison to herself, thinking that this is an insult upon her, with her thinking that Mitsuki was saying that she is liking Kawaki for absolutely no reason, but Mitsuki is just saying he was just being presumptuous and just thinking about the situation. From there, Eida immediately thinks about Boruto and understands that she has to have a long talk with him to understand what exactly is going on, especially when it comes to her ability actually affecting on how Mitsuki is truly thinking when it comes to his affection toward his own motivation. Anyways, we cut to Jura and Hidari chilling in another dimension where Jura announces that it is time to actually visit the Hidden Leaf Village. And I really do like this paneling here where Jura actually teleports through the Clawgram using the cube, and he immediately jumps out of the Clawgram's back. I think that's great paneling from Ikimoto, showing the small subtle changes throughout each panel as both enemies travel through the dimensions. I think that was really cool to see. We immediately see the two of them right in front of the Hidden Leaf Village trying to look for Naruto. And once they head inside the village, the sensor unit does detect their chakra. One of them is unknown and the other is Sasuke Uchiha, as we all know is not actually Sasuke but is Hidari, of course. And when reading this chapter for the first time, it's kind of funny how they were talking because the way that they were trying to locate Naruto, it was as if Naruto was actually inside the Hidden Leaf Village. The fact that they thought they were sensing Naruto inside of the village, it made me wonder what exactly was going on. As they were trying to pinpoint Naruto's location, Jura and Hidari are confronted by some Konoha fodder ninja, and this is where Konoha fodder ninja number 1, 2, 3, and 4 all get one tapped within a span of a panel. Anyways, as Jura and Hidari are walking through the village, Jura sees a rare bookshop. They are trying to learn and gather as much knowledge as possible, so immediately Jura walks into the bookshop. Jura is enticed to already pick up a book and to try to start reading, but before any of that actually happens, Kawaki tries to attack Hidari right away, and immediately Delta comes from behind and supports, and this is where we see Jura warn Kawaki about not trying to fight in front of that shop, and he does tell Kawaki that he'll actually damage the treasure. Of course, with these characters, they do want to learn, so having this information in front of them, it is vital for them to understand what's going on around the world. And this is where he attacks Kawaki back for trying to damage the shop, even though Kawaki does not care about that at all. And this is where we get a small scrap between Kawaki and Jura. Jura tries to trap Kawaki by using the Divine Tree powers. However, Kawaki immediately shrinks that away by using the Sukuna Hikona ability. Kawaki then activates his karma and tries to retaliate with another attack, but Jura is just way too strong where he punches away Kawaki's cybernetic arm. Kawaki is then taken surprise by the power of Jura, where Jura then informs Kawaki that he won't kill him just yet, but to keep him still. And this is where Jura just one-taps Kawaki immediately. I know Kawaki was not at full power, he was only in his Karma 1 state, but we see the clear power difference between the Shinjus and Kawaki. I do gotta say, the way that they've been treating Kawaki so far into Blue Vortex, man, they are giving him the code treatment, because of just one punch alone, Kawaki is sent flying throughout the village and he lands into a water tank, immediately knocking him out. And this is crazy because Kawaki just gets one-shotted. The fact that these villains just come in and just destroy him right away, man, they're doing my boy dirty. Anyways, Jura does detect Naruto's chakra, even though he's not inside the Leaf Village, where he does say he is a Jinchuriki who bears a Bijuu, and as an incarnation of a fellow Bijuu, I can sense the Bijuu chakra dwelling inside of him. And obviously when it comes to of the other Shinjus, they derive from the characters that they were devoured of from the divine trees, with Sasuke, Bug, and Moegi. As compared to somebody like Jura, he isn't that at all. He is just an incarnation of the Ten Tails itself. And from him sensing the chakra of the Bijuu from Naruto, the rest of the Konoha 11 go to confront Hidari and Jura. And as Jura and Hidari confront these characters, they realize that the Bijuu chakra that they were sensing from Naruto was actually Himawari instead. And this sets up so many things when it comes to Himawari's character, since she has been a character that, despite being more or less just a cute character on the side that has always been a fan favorite, she has displayed some incredible power that, at least me personally, I thought has always been just a gag. But with her showing some incredible power, at least in the Boruto anime, and her becoming a ninja into True Blue Vortex, this sets up so many things when it comes to Himawari's character by essentially saying that she has some Bijuu chakra inside of her. The fact that Hidari and Jura were able to sense that and think that this was Naruto instead shows you that she has some incredible power that we may not know of. And this sets up everything when it comes to chapter 9, because we're going to see the Konoha 11 fight Hidari and Jura, most likely going to be a one-sided battle, but we actually may get to see Himawari tap into that level of power, because if this is the power that Jura and Hidari were able to sense, maybe this is the reason why Damon was so scared of Himawari in the first place. Of course, we have never seen her fight at full power, so to say, but to actually witness that basically the strongest characters that we have seen thus far essentially sense this level of power, especially when it comes to Bijuu chakra, it is very interesting when it comes to her character. So let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. How would you rate Boruto chapter 8, and how do you feel about Himawari potentially having Bijuu chakra inside of her? Do you guys think she may have a Bijuu chakra mode she could tap into? I think that would be absolutely insane, considering that she already has the Byakugan, but I do think this is very exciting for somebody like Himawari, as we needed this for her character, and I think this makes sense when it comes to setting up Himawari's character in the future. So let me know how you guys feel about all that in the comment section below. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell as well, and have a good day. Peace.